Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1, where we're catching up with one of the new members of the NPSL. It is the New York Shockers out of Albany, New York, and the owner, Afrim Nezaj, is hanging out with us. Thanks for hanging out for a 1v1. Congratulations.
Great. Thank you for having me.
All right, so let me just ask off the top, why and why now?
So we've built this beautiful sports park that has 4 turf fields and a dome, and it's a complex that was suited to accommodate a semi-pro or top-level team. And we've got seating for 1,000 fans. We have a sports bar right on site, and I own all of this. So for once, I don't have to go lease a stadium or have people after the game try to get together at a sports bar. You can do it all here, right on site. And the other thing is this area has some really good, talented players, and the adult leagues here only can take you so far. And so I think that there should be a higher level of play in this area.
And this isn't your first foray into franchises in the area. There's indoor that's been there in the past, and there's also WPSL. So building something from the ground up isn't something that is foreign to you when it comes to soccer franchises there in the area.
No, you're right. We have a lot of experience. We've done it many times. And as you know, in sports, franchises come and go. And I think with each one, if you could learn something, the last time we had a franchise, we actually did it where we weren't losing money, which was our goal. And we were getting about 500 fans a game, and that was indoor. And so we taken time to build the facilities, but now we say, let's go back to what we've done. And so we hope we've learned something. We hope we can put some people in the stands.
When it comes to the soccer footprint and the history, we got into it a little bit, but for those not familiar with Albany Colony region and what soccer means to that part of New York State, break that down for us.
Okay, so there's a great youth league here, which was one of the earliest youth leagues formed in the country. So the base is excellent. There's about 400 teams in about 50 clubs. So the base is pretty good. And then you have professional teams that have been here: Albany Eagles, Albany Capitals, Albany Alley Cats. We have the New York Kick, which played indoor. So there's been a bunch of franchises. And then my last team, which was the Shockers. So, yes, we've had a lot of teams here.
When it comes to the to-do list, and this is a question that I like to ask of all of the folks that are hopping into building something and trying to get something off the ground running. I know that somewhere in your office or in your kitchen or somewhere in your house, there's either a dry erase board that is probably 6 feet wide that might have a bunch of scribbling on it. It might be a little board on a magnet that's attached to your fridge. There's a to-do list somewhere for you when it comes to getting this off the ground and hitting the ground running. Where is that list, and how big is it, knowing that the season's just around the corner?
So it's funny you say that, because I'm sitting in an office that is / a meeting room for clubs. And we have 6 big dry eraser boards. When I say big, they're 4 by 4 feet. So it pretty much dominates this room. So we're going to treat running this team like you would treat when I built the facilities. You have your date that you expect to open up your facility, and then you just start going back. And we just joked. We said, we got to start ordering the uniforms right now. And literally they're asking us what sizes. I'm like, take a look at the last club that you outfitted for uniforms. We're going to have to go with that, because I can't wait till we get the players to say what size shirt you want. So we're having to order extra shirts. So you're right. You have to plan things in advance, and you have to, get everything in order, because you can't wait till the last minute. Otherwise, it looks helter-skelter. And I hope that we don't look like that at the beginning.
When it comes to the kind of player, the kind of coach, the administration that's attached to the franchise, I know that you're looking for a specific kind of individual to represent the Shockers the right way. When it comes to that hunt for on the field and off, what is that individual that you're looking for?
Great question. So my facilities are run, we call when they come to our facilities, we say, this is your home turf. In other words, there's 12 clubs that use our fields as their home turf. Well, because, in the soccer communities, they can get very cliquey. What club do you support locally? The coach I want it to be a representation of someone who's neutral. someone who's really not aligned with any one club. That's one. Two, I want someone that treats this very professionally. Like if you got hired to coach a Division I soccer team, there's certain things you do, how you recruit, how you plan, what you do. I'm thinking that level. I want the person to take each practice, each training session very seriously. I want us to have a certain style of play. And I want the person to understand that he has to be accessible to the community because this is a community team.
You're in a conference that is, when it comes to the members of it, it's pretty high powered, and these folks are trading haymakers. And I'm going to date myself here for a full 15 rounds when it comes to the schedule. You're looking at Boston City, you're looking at Hartford City, you're looking at Kingston, you're looking at Greater Lowell. I mean, these are some heavyweights that you're hopping into in this conference. When you look at that opposition, what do you see?
Well, it's an unknown because I do know some of the players that play for Kingston, for example, because they're Albany kids. Their kids actually played in my youth club. So I do know somewhat of the level. About 5 years ago when Kingston first started and joined this league, they called me up and said, can I make a scrimmage game, home and away, just to get them going because this was preseason. We put a team together and we won the first game 1-0 and we tied the second game 1-1. And I honestly think that's because Albany has some pretty decent players in this area. We have 2 Division I schools here locally, and so and a bunch of Division III schools. So I think there's enough players here, hopefully, to compete with these guys. But believe me, I do know that we're at the bottom right now. I consider ourselves, there's 6 teams, we're 6th place.
So then what's your expectations for year one?
Well, year one, if you can come up to a 500 record, if you could win half your games, to me, that's success for a first-year franchise. I mean, that's the goal.
So what's it going to take to get there?
What's it going to take to get there is going to be convincing everyone that is a really good soccer player that, let's say, finished playing 3 years ago to come back and say, hey, this is worth it. You want to do this. And because I have these leagues, I mean, I run 5 indoor facilities in this area. I kind of know a lot of these kids. So basically, it's like, you've been wanting to play at a high level. We've got the high level. Now let's go take it serious and train for it. It would mean that these kids would have to get back in shape because there's a difference between playing in an indoor league once or twice a week than playing on a team this level. So can we get these kids in shape and then work with the colleges, the 2 local colleges here? We already begun that process, by the way. Is saying, hey, give me the 3 or 4 best players that you think are going to be in this area that you think can play this level. And so one of the coaches here locally who coaches Siena College, he actually played, was one of the better players in this league. And so he said he would help us out.
All right, time for the crystal ball question. And I like to ask this one too, in addition to the whiteboard question. Look at New York Shockers 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the line. How would you like to see what you're building now continue to grow and evolve, not just necessarily within the framework of the NPSL, where I know that you want to continue to grow and succeed and really be someone that the entire league is looking at, not just in the North Atlantic Conference, but around as one of the models going forward. But on the field, off the field, how are you looking to see things continue to evolve over the next handful of years?
So, again, I think I can go back to when we ran the Shockers indoor. We started in a league that, like you said, we were the new team in the league. Well, we quickly became the franchise everyone emulated. A, we were getting the best attendance. B, 5 out of the 7 years we made the Nationals. So we were going to Las Vegas, we were going to Dallas, Virginia. We were flying all these places to go. We slowly became the model franchise to the point where the commissioner of that league was out in California, but he had us run the East Division of that league because we were the right model for that. So I'm hoping that we can become that kind of model again. I mean, we already have one in Kingston. The Kingston model is a really good model. I mean, attendance-wise, everything that he's doing there is pretty good.
When it comes to growth, we talked about that and how you want things to continue to go. But how difficult is it to start something like this, knowing what the last year has been like, just to get to this point? How difficult was it to navigate this past 12 months and then come up with this decision and then want to do it to hit the ground running? How difficult was it for you as a businessman to think this through in the last year and then still want to do it and go forward?
Well, it was very difficult because I've been asked to join this league for the last 3 or 4 years because I have friends who run teams in this league. They would say, Afrim, you're the perfect guy. You're the guy. You've had teams and Albany needs it. Albany can support it. And I kept saying, we're not ready. The facility is not ready. Then it was COVID is not ready. So I think that we're going to get back to normal. I really think that we're getting close. As far as our facility use, we're at 80% right now. And so outdoor is even better. Indoor, people are hesitant to go indoor because of COVID, but outdoor, they seem to want to be outdoor. So outdoor, we're breaking numbers. So if we're breaking numbers, it's just a matter, will the government allow us to have, right now we're allowed to have 200 fans at a game. We hope that we'll have 200 every game. But once they let us have more, I think we can get more. And it is difficult, but we're back to normal. I've had a staff I've been doing this for 30 years, so my facilities are okay. Running a team is still going to be new. Even though we've done it before, we have to redo it again.
So then what advice would you give anyone who wants to join this kind of a ride with you, that wants to get into a league like the NPSL? What advice as a businessman would you give someone who wants to take this kind of a leap like the one that you're making?
I would tell them to get ready because it takes a lot more hours than you think. Just like anything. I mean, you begin to build a house. It takes more money. It takes more hours than you thought. Running a team, if you do it right, it does take more effort and time than you think. So don't think you're just going to do it as a backup thing and, oh, yeah, I'll do that as well. It really is something you need to focus on. You need to have the passion. And I think the Kingston Soccer Club is one of those clubs. I mean, they have staff. We're dedicating a bunch of my staff to this. We're having certain people in certain positions. So we're not going to leave it for one guy to do everything. I would say don't try to juggle 10 balls if you can only juggle 2. You juggle 2, find somebody else that can juggle 2, find somebody else and so forth, and that's how you'll keep 10 balls up, because running one of these teams can be up to 10 balls, juggling-wise.
For those that want to keep an eye on what you're doing up there and want to follow along on social media, this is the time for the promo. Cut the promo for me for folks that want to keep an eye on what's going on with the Shockers. How do they do it?
Well, we're going to have a website that obviously, hopefully, will tell everyone. We have Ross, who you've spoken to, because I tend to be the older guy here. But when it comes to social media, I'm going to the people who use it a lot. And we would hope that we play a big part in that. So I would think you go to our NewYorkShockers.com, and I would hope that we're doing some things that people want to imitate. But we're looking at other people's websites to make sure that we're doing what they're doing.
Afrim Nezaj, owner of the New York Shockers, one of the new entries in the NPSL in the North Atlantic Conference. We'll be keeping an eye on what's going on in a very tough conference. Welcome to the NPSL. Thanks for hanging out with us for a 1v1. We'll be keeping an eye on. We'll catch up soon.
My pleasure. Good luck to everyone.